Well, the United States has now lifted sanctions on Iranian oil, and it's really angering the neocons right now. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, posted today under Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, we continue to make the world safer and more prosperous. In line with the ongoing productive talks in Switzerland, Iran has committed to free and open transit in the Strait of Hormuz and to permit the International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors into their country, which was happening during the Obama deal. As part of the framework, Treasury has issued a temporary 60-day general license authorizing the production, delivery, and sale of Iranian oil. So, and here's the actual full document. Let me go ahead and share my full screen here so that way you guys can see that. And the full document basically just lays out how that's happening. So, Office of Foreign Assets Control, authorizing the production, delivery, and sale of crude oil, petroleum, petrochemical products, and petroleum products of Iranian origin through August 21st of 2026. And basically, what's going on now, any payments of funds owed to Iran or any blocked person for the purchase of crude oil of Iranian origin may be made in US dollar denominated funds. This is what's going on now. And of course, it has restrictions. The only places that it can't do this in are North Korea, Cuba, and covered regions of Ukraine. Basically, what's going on now is we're going exactly back to the Obama deal. I was telling you guys this earlier. There's absolutely no way that we could go back to anything better than the Obama deal because actually now we're going to end up in a worse spot. We're going to end up in a much worse spot because here's the thing, and let me zoom into this article as well. During the Obama deal, there was no war. We weren't putting ourselves in massive debt, spending billions and billions of more dollars. But more importantly than that, we didn't cause a global energy crisis in the middle of the deal, spiking oil prices to this degree. That never happened. We're in a worse off negotiating position because the Trump administration also has to worry about the stock market. They have to worry about oil prices. They have to worry about the fact that there are many countries around the planet that are fully 100% reliant on oil imports. Many. I previously mentioned Japan. Some of them are running low on their stockpiles. That's a lot of immense pressure. They have no choice but to subjugate and really try to make a deal as quickly as possible. We're in a worse off position, and we're going to go back to exactly where we were. The things that are never going to change from Iran's perspective is they're never going to stop enriching uranium. That's just a hard line for them. They've made that very clear. They're going to allow inspectors to come in, but that's it. They don't have a nuclear program. They don't have a nuclear weapons program. J.D. Vance made a video today. I posted it and played it in the last video where he stated Iran has agreed to end their nuclear weapons program. They don't have a nuclear weapons program. They've already ended it. They have a nuclear program. But of course, he has to say that to make it seem like there has been massive progress. Wow, they agreed to end their nuclear weapons program. That's amazing. Kind of the same sort of BS you hear when they talk about how they grab this magical nuclear dust, this nuclear fairy dust. That nuclear dust is not a word, but Fox News, CBS, they've actually had the reporters start using the word nuclear dust now, likely at the behest of the Trump administration. Nuclear dust is a word that Trump uses because he doesn't want Americans to know that Iran still has enriched uranium, and the strikes last year against Iran's Fordow site, Iran's nuclear sites, to bomb the enriched uranium didn't end up working. So they still have canisters of enriched uranium, but we call it nuclear dust because we don't want Americans to know that the bombing wasn't successful. So anyways, here's a New York Times article that's basically reporting on the same thing and what he stated on social media. How the Trump administration provided them with it. It also allows American importers to buy Iranian crude oil, petrochemical products, and petroleum products. Iran produced less than 5% of the world's oil before the war, with the vast majority of its exports going to China, but it was forced to sharply curtail its production in recent months because of the U.S. blockade. So the Trump administration faced criticism for striking an initial deal with Iran that critics say is overly accommodating and more generous than the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action under the Obama administration and other world powers reached with Iran to curb its nuclear program. You know what I find really interesting is that 100% the only reason that Trump pulled out of this deal is because Obama made it. And regardless of how you feel about the deal, the Israelis are more upset now, but it just put the United States in a worse off position. You can't bomb your way to peace. It's not possible. You only through negotiation and diplomacy. I think that what we've recognized is that neoconservatism, the idea of bombing your way to getting what you want, simply doesn't work long term. It's not successful, and it ends up backfiring in more ways than we can imagine at that moment. And that's exactly what we're beginning to see now. So while this is all going on, there's also more headlines today that apparently Marco Rubio, while the Iranian negotiations are going on, he's heading to the Gulf states tomorrow to negotiate to basically help with the peace talks and bring about regional stability. Secretary Mark Rubio travels to the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. It says he will be traveling there to discuss the regional priorities, the MOU with Iran, efforts to secure full and free, safe transit through the Strait of Hormuz, and the importance of peace stability in the region. In Bahrain, the secretary will also meet with the Gulf Cooperation Council to discuss shared priorities across the region. State Department confirms it as well. Barak Ravid, he's the Israeli propagandist, really, that works for Axios, really cranking out all these Axios articles about what Trump is stating. I feel like he seems like he has a direct line to Trump sometimes, and Trump just tells him what to state. So Rubio will attend the Gulf Cooperation Council meeting in Bahrain. You know, this is the thing. It's like, gosh, every single time I see this guy's face, we have to make sure this will be a lifelong mission for me. I hope that by the next presidential campaign and the one after that, 2032, I hope that Marco Rubio's policies are so unappealing that he would never get voted. But again, he's just as bad as Lindsey Graham. I mean that so seriously. Lindsey Graham might be a bit more flamboyant in his rhetoric. Marco Rubio is just as neocon, the most neocon person. Pete Hegseth, also very neocon. He wants to bomb the planet. He does it for religious reasons. Marco Rubio does it much less for religious reasons, more for power and money. Constantly just wants war. He's mad right now that these negotiations are going on. If you've been seeing some of the videos, his face was like this, but even worse in a lot of the videos where Trump was talking about the MOU. You could tell he's just so over it. He doesn't want any of this. It's so obvious. So, you know, and here's some just U.S. officials stating the same thing. Official account of the State Department spokesperson will travel to the UAE the 23rd to the 25th to meet with a range of U.S. policy priorities. I personally, you know, I feel like all of this, again, I'm going to keep repeating the same thing, is that you can't have peace in the region while ignoring the crux of the issue, which is the Palestine problem, the Palestine-Israel problem, the fact that Israel doesn't give 5 million people self-determination. I think that's at the crux of the issue here. And until that's solved, it doesn't matter how much you try. None of these other problems are going to be solved. If even this Iran war ended right now, even if Israel pulled out of Lebanon, what's going to happen then? You still have Israeli settlers. You know, I'll just talk about that again in another video. Let's just keep this on the oil exports for now. But that's basically where we're at. So we're going to see how things move going forward. And, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. JD Vance has been stating that these talks are going very, very well. In this Reuters article, it also says the license says Iranian oil can be imported into the U.S. when necessary to complete its sale. The U.S. has not meaningfully imported Iranian oil since Washington imposed measures after the 1979 revolution in Iran. So that's a major change. Washington first sanctioned Iran in 1979 when revolutionary students seized the U.S. embassy in Tehran, holding diplomats hostage. Numerous additional sanctions have been imposed since then over the nuclear program and Iran's support for groups the U.S. deems terrorist organizations. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. If you found it interesting, I'd appreciate it if you let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you haven't yet, one of the best ways to support my channel, support me so I can make more of these videos for you guys, is either super gifts or chats, or if you join as a member. So if you click the join button below next to the subscribe button, it has a star around it. You can join as a member now. Thanks so much to the 147 members now. I really appreciate the 147 of you. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the membership. And yeah, otherwise, let me know your guys' thoughts, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and have a great day. Bye, everybody.